Hello everyone. I hope you're all having a great weekend. It is a Saturday, and although I've had these sitting on my desk for a couple of days now, I really have to wait for the weekend to get around to really doing a deep dive and taking my time, which is what I want to do. So I'm so excited about these. These I feel like are a long time coming. I have been using stamping gel in pots instead of what this product really is. So I believe that all this time I've just been waiting for this product to exist so I can stop doing hacky weird methods. What this is, if you don't already know, this is the Color Mud Gel by Venalisa. I know this isn't their invention, but it's hard to come by, and I don't know why. So, as I said, stamping gels are really the same thing, but of course, they're formulated specifically for stamping. But in essence, is this the one that I pre-opened? It isn't. One of these I already opened to take a peek. I think it was, yes. You see how they don't self-level at all. So, I'm going to test it out and see if you can also stamp with them. They are not advertised as stamping gels, by the way. They're not. So I will be using them off-label by doing this, but I just thought I would see how they compare to my other stamping gels. Because looking at them on the surface, it kind of looks like the same thing but repackaged. And that can be deceiving, just looking at it doesn't tell me the formulation, it doesn't tell me its intended use. Now looking at the lid, I can see a bit of residue. So I know these are not pure gels, and I know the term gel is a loaded term. It's used in ways, basically it causes confusion because there's no real definition for what quote unquote gel is. So it's thrown around a lot. I mean, here it's saying gel. A lot of things say gel. But this is what I guess someone who's in the nail industry would call not a true gel. It's a blend. So that's not a bad thing. Gel polishes are a blend. They're not a true gel. It's gel plus other things to make it behave like a nail polish, but with the advantage of gel, if that makes sense. And the gel advantage is longevity and strength, as well as flexibility, which acrylics don't have that. So it just depends on your application and what you want to do. So I just opened the one to see because, God, that orange I'm so excited about. It is really warm out where I am now. I've moved, a lot has happened since my last video. So I am excited to wear some real color, maybe a neon in a month, but for right now I really want some color. I just wanted to show you how these open because I'm also really excited about this too. We've all complained about those other containers and the seal that they have. My glove is creating a bit of a slip, but basically you can peel these off like a professional gel. Yay! So it seemed like all of the cheap brands were using that vacuum sealed one, type that you just can't get off without using a razor. So excuse me while I get some lint-free pads and just pop that down. This is a silicone mat, so I'm not doing that to protect the mat. I just feel that when I get sloppy putting things around my mat, I end up rubbing my hand in it. So this kind of denotes an area of dirty area. So I just picked a few colors, and of course I had to get black. There's nothing sexier. And especially since this is really thick. Ooh, this got on the lid somehow. Interesting. A bit of inconsistency between colors. There you can see not a true gel. You can see right there, whatever the other product is that it's mixed with, there's a little separation. So I don't know how these are going to perform, but it's nice because you can squeegee on color, put it on very, very thin, which will of course help you with a thinner looking nail without all that bulky, goopy polish, if that makes sense. So because it's light out, and although I have blinds, some UV rays do still come through, I'm being careful to reclose all of these. So again, so excited that they opted for this type of seal. There we go. We can see a little residue of whatever else the gel is mixed with to achieve the properties that they're looking for. This is more of a, I thought this would be a beige, but this is very gray. Not a bad thing, but not the color I thought it was. Okay, so let's try one of them. And I'm definitely going to do the orange. I'm just so excited. So I'm just going to, over here, because I don't want lint, I'm actually going to wipe my brush on the silicone. I'm just going to put it next to that just so I remember this is a dirty area. And let's try this out. Oh, I'm so excited. That's beautiful. I like that it has a little scrape area. I want to see, I know this is a teeny tiny amount. I just want to see how pigmented it is. With gel, you really do have to be careful. Light still has to penetrate. So, oh God, it's so nice. This is not a, I mean, it's a clean brush, but not, it has some clear gel already in it, so it might thin this out a little. And that's fine. I was not expecting that tiny little dab to do it. But I'm just so excited. Ugh. So nice. Very creamsicle color. If you can tell, because in the pot it looks a lot darker. In the pot it's a red orange, but on the nail, very much creamsicle. It's got a summer dessert orange color to it. Oh God, it's so nice. This is so nice to use, you guys. Wow. Got a little on my brush that I can scrape. That's so nice because I'm always scraping the edge of the pot. Well, that's what everyone does because that's all you have, right? And then it's getting onto the lip and then it gets onto the lid. So I really like that they're helping us, and it's a ledge down from the lip. So if you can see, it's a lower ledge. So even though some got on top, it's still not going to get onto the lid. I love that they're thinking about us keeping things clean. Again, I'm just going to wipe this off a little so I can pop it back in because, again, where I'm working is not in my studio like I used to have. I don't have a studio in my new place. This is temporary, but I have to be careful about the window that's way over there. So you can kind of see here. It's a hair transparent, but again, I put it on thin. This is one coat. We're going to do two. Pop it in and cure. Okay. And now we can put on the next coat. Behaves very much like a thick builder gel. So excited about that because a lot of times when cheap brands make a thicker gel, it's really a poly gel because they're sticky and they're stiff. You know, gel is soft, and even when it's non-self-leveling, it's still soft. Like you saw me, it's like butter. I just dip right in. It's so nice, which is why I prefer gel. I just really love the feel. I love how it behaves. Lots of products today give you the longevity. You know, of course, acrylics are the tried and true. They were around before the rest, before polygel and gel. But all three provide longevity. So it's really not a compromise there. It really comes down to your preference on how you use it, because it's a medium and you're an artist, and every artist has their favorite, right? You know, even among painting, there are artists who swear by oil paints and those who swear by acrylics. So, and there are pros and cons to both. I've used both and been trained in both, so I understand why there's a debate, because it's debatable, right? There's a lot of opinion because they are uniquely their own thing. So I'm not telling you what you should like. I'm just letting you know that the same happens with nails. It is an art form, and we do have mediums that as artists we prefer for our own reasons. And there we are. That is the second coat. Now, because it's a cream, I can tell you that just like with a true gel that is in a like a buttercream with the Lexi-line and you know, professional grade products, it does require a bit more skill than a gel polish, where you can be heavy-handed, you can be a little sloppy, and it will self-level and it will make up for that. So this will not do that. This will not make up for you being sloppy with your brush strokes and painting. So I'm just trying to show you with the light source here. Now, of course, I'm looking for coverage. I will go over this with a top coat, which should even out and create a glass-like layer, but just letting you know that it does require some skill, which means if you're doing this on yourself, you know, using your non-dominant hand, this might be a little tricky for you. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to go ahead and cure this. So since we're going to stamp on top of this sample, I'm just going to make my life easy and just use a matte top coat instead of wiping the sticky layer and sanding. It's very difficult to do on these little pegs. They just like to pop off, and I just don't want to fuss with that. So I'm just going to do a very thin layer. I'm not worried about it as a finishing coat in terms of brush strokes. I'm just brush strokes. Wow. I'm trying to create texture so the stamp sticks. So this is not a finishing layer. Yeah, and it's completely covered. So I'm going to cure this one more time, and then we'll test out the stamping ability. If you are interested in the plate that I will be using, it is by Nicole Diary, and it's 090. It's very whimsical. I love it because of motifs like this. Anything with pine trees, mountain. This to me is sage. I don't know if that's what they meant it to be, but I loved it because I saw it, you know, as hanging sage, which was so exciting to me because it's so hard to find anything like that that isn't intentionally meant to be negative or for Halloween. You know, anything that's pagan, it's kind of a hit or miss. So I'll find it at random on a plate. And of course, I like nature stuff, and it has, you know, lunar cycles, which are much more trendy now and easier to find. But I was going to originally pick this flower design, but I do know this design. I have stamped this one before, so I know how it's supposed to pick up. So I think for the sake of testing, I'm going to go with this design. Yeah, I know you haven't seen it yet, but I have, so I'll know. And I have been able to pick up those tiny little dots with a proper stamping gel. So I think it'll be a good test. So here's the matte finish on that orange. Beautiful. And let me just set that aside. I already wiped the plate, although it looks like there's a hair bit of residue. I think pure acetone would get it, but this one looks pretty clean, so I'm just going to go ahead. And I already cleaned up my area there just while we were waiting, so I can wipe my brush again and really get all this orange out. I'm sorry if you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of doing this. I'm being gentle, but I'm letting the gel pull because it likes the silicone this matte surface, so it's easy to pull it off. This is also not a natural brush. This is synthetic. A natural brush, you know, natural hairs, your own hair, for instance, is porous and it absorbs things. So these being plastic fibers, in my opinion, are better because they don't do that. Everything just sits on the surface, so I feel that they're easier to clean. I don't feel that I'm at a disadvantage artistically at all. I mean, even when I was doing paintings, acrylic or oil, I stayed away from sable brushes because I don't believe in cruelty for artwork. I just don't. Whether it's beauty or, you know, I feel like that's a bit vain. So I use synthetic, and this is actually meant for makeup. It's not a gel brush, but anything can be a gel brush if it's the right shape and if it works. So I may have pulled a little too much, actually. Let me do a little less. And we'll see if this works. I may have been right the first time. I forget how much these thicker lines take. Again, this is not its intended use. So if it completely fails, it's nothing against the manufacturer. They're not marketing these as stamping gels. Okay. Just wipe that. Just kind of wiggling and pulling. It may look aggressive, but it's not. It's just the matte textured surface of the silicone really drawing out the gel. There we go. She's ready for the next use. So I'm going to scrape. Because we're working with gel, I don't have to work fast. I don't know if that was such a great, not the best, but it did pick up. So I think because it's so thick, I needed to be a bit more firm in my scrape. For a first try, I was afraid that if I was too firm, I would pull out the product and would not get a transfer. So let's just stamp her on anyway and get a look at it. Oh, this needs a little help. There we go. So it works. How would I describe this? Not its intended use. Even though this is a light color, my stamping gels are much more pigmented when they stamp. So this reminds me a lot of when, you know, before stamping gels existed, how you would try to figure out which polishes were good for stamping because a lot of them were not marketed for that. So you would do some tests, and that's what this looks like. So I'm not recommending you use these for stamping. I just thought I would see, given their viscosity, if it would even work. So apparently there's a lot more to stamping than just how thick it is. So anyway, I hope this demo was helpful and helped you make a decision whether or not you want to go ahead and get these pots. They have their advantages. If you like potted gels, these won't run. They're going to stay right where they are. They are a new product, so the colors are limited. They're not the wide variety that other Venalisa, polishes and products have in terms of color range, but they do have enough that you could certainly work with them and give them a try. As far as off-label use, a bit of a failure, but that's okay. I think these are really marketed more towards people who are looking for a similar, a knockoff to a professional grade buttercream or similar potted color gel. So really, a niche market, I think. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, and you all enjoy the rest of your weekend.